One of the most common ways to structure a game these days is with an open-world setting, giving you the freedom to explore your map however you want. Some of them take you to real-world locations like Assassin's Creed Valhalla through 9th century England, while others will immerse you in fantastical landscapes like Skyrim, and many others. Whatever your choice, the best open-world games on PS5 that I'll show you in this video offer incomparable freedom to play with the environment, so come with me for the first game in the video. If you're a big fan of Souls-likes and you've not played Elden Ring yet, where have you been? This punishing open-world action RPG will really test your patience, but it's worth it, trust us. The map is never-ending, the Elden Ring bosses are challenging, and the quests are as gripping as you'd expect from a game of this caliber. Elden Ring is easily one of the best games we've had this year, and open-world fans must try it. The open world of Elden Ring is magnificent too, with a classic feeling of finding things for yourself. If you're tired of the modern era of games offering markers for everything, then Elden Ring may be the reset you need. Don't believe us? Check out our Elden Ring review, in which we gave the game a very rare 10 out of 10. Horizon Forbidden West is one of the best-looking games on the PlayStation 5 and boasts a huge open world full of interesting characters, enemies, and locations. As alluded to by the game's title, the further west players travel, the more dangerous their surroundings become, with powerful machines and an army of rebels and devotees standing between Aloy and her goals. The base version of the game is fantastic in its own right, but just like the Frozen Wilds DLC did with the game's predecessor, the Burning Shores expansion takes Horizon Forbidden West to a whole other level. Rarely does a game manage to successfully blend so many ideas and gameplay mechanics together this seamlessly, nor are there many sequels that manage to improve on their predecessors quite so definitively. If you want to talk about a game that was released and just truly embarrassed everything else on the market by being an outrageously good and innovative game, look no further than grabbing the Red Dead Redemption 2 trophies, and then we'll really be talking. As the Old West of America is falling to the slow industrialization of the frontiers, cowboy Arthur Morgan grapples with his role as part of the magnetic leader Butch's gang. It's so well written that it might be my favorite story in video gaming, but it almost certainly wouldn't be if the open world didn't push it up a notch. The story isn't just great because of the writing, it's how it interplays with the truly revolutionary environment design. You can interact with everyone and feel like part of this world. You'll come across random events in the forests and end up on a 40-minute journey that'll make you laugh and cry as you try and help a widow in need. You'll see gorgeous views that will have you settling down for 5 minutes just to drink it in while you eat some meat you carved down the muddy way. Nothing you do feels arbitrary here, none of the missions feel grindy or frustrating. It all just feels like one true moment. The result is the best game I've played for a long, long time, and one that I don't think I've recovered from yet. What started as one of the PS5's biggest disappointments soon became one of its greatest games. Cyberpunk 2077 started off terribly optimized for consoles, but the game has received numerous updates, bringing the world of Night City into one of the best RPG games of the generation. Night City is easily one of the most beautiful dystopian worlds ever seen in a game, and it's brimming with personality and stories to witness. Developer CD Projekt Red is renowned for crafting excellent narratives and quest lines, and that's no different here, but Cyberpunk 2077 also boasts very good FPS combat. Oh, and it's got Keanu Reeves in it, and that's never a bad thing in our books. There's also the Phantom Liberty expansion for fans to enjoy, which adds an additional narrative for newcomers and fans alike to experience. Someone was going to do horrible things to us if we didn't mention that choosing to platinum the surprisingly easy Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth trophies is one of the best experiences you can have on PS5 right now. Set in Hawaii this time, you'll be getting your hands back on Ichiban Kasuga's saga, which duking it out in a palm tree-coated shirt in a refined turn-based combat system. If the Yakuza series has a reputation for greatness before, then Infinite Wealth has somehow stepped the game up again. That odd storytelling that grips you and refuses to let go? It's got that again, and it's got you in a chokehold this time. That side content feast is back and as liberatingly insane as ever. Hawaii is genuinely a gorgeous setting with scale, density, and charm, but make no mistake that returning Japanese settings make this the most complete open world of the Yakuza games, too. I can't recommend the game to you anymore. If you like Yakuza, hop right in. Need some brain bashing in your life? Then Dying Light 2 might be the poison you need right now, especially if you've read our Dying Light 2 review. This big open-world zombie RPG builds and expands upon the first game to create an amazing open-world experience. The map is much bigger, the quest lines are better, and there's enough content to keep you busy for quite a long time. both as part of the base game and thanks to its expansions. The thing that sets Dying Light 2 apart from lots of other open-world games, though, is its movement mechanics. Parkour, wall running, ropes, parachutes, and much more make movement super fluid and satisfying. When you add the fact that you're dodging and bashing zombies at the same time, it really feels epic. Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered comes bundled with the deluxe edition of Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and applies an extra glossy coat of paint to an already exquisite work of art. However, despite the remaster first becoming available in late 2020 and then receiving a PC port a few years later, it wasn't until May of 2023 that it finally got its own standalone PS5 release. Though this delay frustrated a lot of players, it was arguably worth the wait, as this is undoubtedly the best way to experience the 2018 classic on the console. It's one of the best PlayStation exclusive games of all time, and, thanks to the increased power of the former, looks considerably better on the PS5 than the original did on PS4. Those who played the original can probably skip it, but for anybody who didn't, it's well worth checking out. Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales is a PS5 exclusive that boasts plenty of Marvel madness. Its developer Insomniac Games' second Spidey title and shakes up the formula from the first by giving Miles a new set of abilities. Plus, playing in the shoes of Miles and not Peter Parker keeps things fresh as well. Swinging across New York City is an enjoyable experience on its own, with so many ways to traverse the environment thanks to web zips, using Miles' Venom abilities to boost yourself, and more. Then, add in the enemies to fight and other side activities to enjoy, and you've got yourself one hell of a Spider-Man experience. Spider-Man, Miles Morales will have you swinging through an open-world New York, bumping into several notable villains, and progressing through a beautifully written main story. We can't think of anyone who wouldn't enjoy a Spider-Man title from Insomniac, and Miles Morales should definitely be worth your consideration. Street Fighter VI remains a fighting game first and foremost, but the introduction of World Tour mode could prove to be a real game-changer in the long run. The idea of being able to run around the streets of a fictional city and start fights with just about anybody is simple enough on paper, but the execution here is really quite masterful, and there's still plenty of room for growth. That the developers were somehow able to integrate a coherent story into all of this is no small feat and deserves a tremendous amount of credit. Granted, this type of open-world Shenmue-esque experience is never going to replace the genre's traditional arcade mode, but it does complement it quite nicely and has the potential to deliver a much more enjoyable narrative without having to dilute the combat. Set 9 months after the events of Miles Morales, Insomniac Games' third game in the series sees you play as both Peter Parker and Miles, as the threats of Kraven the Hunter and Venom descend upon New York. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 delivers on bringing the exciting combat and strong superhero narrative that the first two games offer, but the open world is equally upgraded in this title. Traversing the map of New York City is as exhilarating as ever, and there are plenty of side objectives to keep you busy after the end of the game's main story. Our 10/10 Spider-Man 2 review calls it a masterpiece for good reason. Not only is it everything you'd expect from a great action-adventure superhero game, but it uses the PS5's hardware excellently, making it the ultimate PS5 experience so far. When you think of massive and immersive open worlds, we would be shocked if Skyrim wasn't one of the first games to pop into your mind. The game is impressive even on PS5. There's so much content to uncover that you can get lost in the world for hours on end as you stumble across side quests, secrets, and caves filled with enemies to slay. It's an absolute marvel to play and a game that still holds up all this time later. I had so much fun earning all those The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim trophies, 3 times thanks to the PS5 version, and spent 2 months playing nothing but Skyrim. I was enthralled with its world and all the different lives I could play out in the same game. I remember running around the world finishing odd jobs and didn't even progress the main storyline for dozens of hours. There aren't many games that allow you to focus on anything but the main story and reward you for it. It's Skyrim, for goodness sake. Just give it a go. Developer Hello Games released this infinitely procedurally generated game in 2016 to heavy criticism. However, this game's redemption arc is something to behold. With dozens of big updates under its belt, a lovely PS5 upgrade, and the fact that it's got VR support to make it one of the best PSVR 2 games, No Man's Sky is pretty amazing these days. Open world almost doesn't do this game justice given that there are over 18 quintillion planets in its universe to explore, so you'll never get two players experiencing the exact same route through the cosmos. Exploration and survival are at the core of No Man's Sky's gameplay, but with its base building systems, there are plenty of opportunities to get creative and make your small but significant mark on its universe. Sometimes, I sit back and just reflect on my times adventuring with Geralt through the fantasy world of the continent. The Witcher 3 has a magical chemistry of superb writing, innovative high fantasy, and well-paced gameplay that creates an unbeatable potion of all-time gaming glory. However, what I think separates CD Projekt Red's incredible fantasy RPGs from others like Dragon Age, Skyrim, and even Final Fantasy is that its open world is grounded. It uses landscapes that feel rooted in a world you know. That means it feels as though you could reach out and touch the sodden cliffs of the Skellige Islands, smell the rancid bogs of Crookback, or hear the bustle of university students in Oxenford. With this tangible world operating in the background, you get sucked in because, despite the magic, mutagens, and Gwent cards, it's all something relatable. So, when you also plug in characters that have these perfectly curated emotional arcs, wonderfully complex creatures with perfectly woven narrative context surrounding them, and deliciously underrated hearty Eastern European humor, the result embarrasses every other RPG I've played in the last 10 years. Those The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt trophies are calling. Another PlayStation exclusive comes from Sucker Punch Productions with Ghost of Tsushima. In this gorgeous open-world game, players become Samurai Jin Sakari, who is tasked with protecting Tsushima Island against the Mongol invasion in Japan. Ghost of Tsushima has slick combat that excels at making you feel like a true samurai, blending fast-paced action like you'd get in recent Assassin's Creed games with the testing combat you'd expect from a From Software game like Sekiro. But it's the world that sets it apart, with beauty and splendor across all of Tsushima. It's completely stunning, especially if you get the PS5 Director's Cut version, which comes with enhanced gameplay and features. Both of the Dying Light games offer up a refreshing take on the open-world formula, with the ever-present threat of zombies helping to completely transform the way that players interact with and explore their surroundings. The fluidity of the game's parkour system and the paraglider help a lot in this regard, allowing players to remain on their toes and escape from danger at just a moment's notice. Sure, there are plenty of great open-world games where players need to worry about their surroundings, with the likes of Fallout 4 and Elden Ring being some of the first to spring to mind. However, while these games tend to promote the idea that there could be danger around every corner, Dying Light 2 players are instead conditioned to believe that there more than likely is. It was a bit of a surprise that in 2023 a game could dominate like Hogwarts Legacy did. But dominate it did, and for good reason. The recreation of Hogwarts is one of my favorite parts of an open-world map I've ever seen and bursts at the seams with the innovative magic systems presented by Harry Potter. With tight, twisting castle corridors and an open courtyard dominated by twisting towers, there's something so special about the place. That feeling is heightened with brilliant music and the mumblings of students, teachers, and moving paintings as you wander the corridors. There is much more than that, of course. On your voyage through the Hogwarts Legacy trophies, you'll discover interesting characters like the morally compromised Sebastian Sallow. You'll also get to explore the rich Scottish Highlands with their odd villages and damp caves filled with magical creatures. I think the game gets a little lost during the main story, but everything else is here to round out a great package: strong gameplay, creative ideas, and fun side missions. Hogwarts Legacy is a great open-world game for PS5 players. The open world in Diablo 4 is a bleak one, but that doesn't make it any less enjoyable to explore. In fact, the ever-present threat of goatmen, cannibals, and cultists helps to keep players on their toes as they explore Sanctuary in the hopes of finding more altars, strongholds, and dungeons. In short, its uninviting nature is one of its biggest strengths. The game itself is one of the best Diablo games in years, with a satisfying gameplay loop and a fairly well-balanced approach to farming. Being able to tackle its many challenges with others only serves to sweeten the deal, with the game's full crossplay support making it easier than ever to party up with a few friends and cause a bit of chaos. If Vikings and Norse mythology are a bit of you, then Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a game you should be playing. the 12th major installment to the incredibly popular franchise, and one of the best Assassin's Creed games of the bunch, Valhalla builds upon previous games and ensures it stays true to the AC recipe for greatness. For those who have never experienced an Assassin's Creed game, Valhalla is still a great starting point, as the games in the long-running series are only connected by a small narrative thread. Valhalla offers a fascinating historical setting, slick stealth mechanics, and a ridiculously vast world to explore. For many, Assassin's Creed Valhalla served as a palate cleanser of sorts, helping them to wash away the stale taste of the series' tired and tested formula. However, for those who still find themselves yearning for the familiarity of classic Assassin's Creed games, Assassin's Creed Mirage might just be worth a look. Mirage is set in 9th century Baghdad, thus providing players with a detailed glimpse into a part of the world that is so often overlooked by Western media. The gameplay may be a little drab in places, but the setting is anything but, making this a great title for those who enjoy exploring rich and vibrant open worlds. Sticking to the mythic theme, we move on to the indie game The Pathless from developer Giant Squid. In The Pathless, players take control of a huntress who is joined by her eagle as they embark on an adventure through vast forests, meadows, and tundras as you hunt for a way to lift a curse on the island in which you find yourself. Praised greatly for its beautiful design, The Pathless is full of choices, puzzles, and combat as players navigate their own path through this fabled land. It's also got some incredibly smooth traversal when exploring the map, as you slide effortlessly to your next objective. If you haven't embarked on collecting the Days Gone trophies yet, where have you been? This underrated game from the PS4 era is still playable on PS5, and we think you should give it a go. With the story of biker Deccan St. John at its core, you'll be shooting at freakers, zombies, as you ride your motor through Oregon forests and the wildernesses beyond. The gameplay loop is compelling and it feels good and meaty to play, especially when a huge horde comes after you. Amongst the best PS4 games, we voted Days Gone higher than Kingdom Come Deliverance, but those positions have swapped for the best open world list. Why? Well, we think that the Oregonian world of Days Gone is gloriously open and wild, but doesn't quite have the depth of the aforementioned medieval RPG. By no means take that as a slight, though. I think it's a glorious game with American storytelling, cheesiness, and bombast. I love it! Despite releasing back in 2013, GTA 5 from the beloved team at Rockstar Games is still one of the best PS5 open-world games on the latest generation of consoles. Both the story and online components feature an open sandbox city where you can wreak havoc, race cars, and perform criminal acts. However, the former delivers a narrative that features an unlikely trio as they attempt heists and claim their fortunes, while the latter delivers a role-playing experience where your player character must take over Los Santos with a criminal empire. GTA 5 has been living and updated, at least the online portion, since its release, and until the GTA 6 release date finally arrives, we imagine it'll still be getting content until its successor launches. But before you set your sights on Los Santos, find out how to make money in GTA 5 and GTA Online first. Whether or not these are actually the definitive versions of the original 3D Grand Theft Auto trilogy is a matter of debate. In fact, most people would probably be in agreement that they aren't. However, at this point in time, these ports offer the only way to experience this once groundbreaking trilogy on the PS5 and are still a whole lot better than a lot of modern open-world games despite their many flaws. The controls have aged pretty poorly and the updated visuals leave a lot to be desired, but the games remain enjoyable nonetheless. They also serve as an excellent reminder of the franchise's importance to the open-world genre, having helped to inspire countless other titles over the years. Of the three games, San Andreas has aged the most gracefully, but Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City can still be a lot of fun. For a games, Metro Exodus is arguably the most unique open-world game we've played on PS5. While the genre generally gives you a massive map, tons of objectives to complete, and fun movement tools to get around with ease, Exodus is all about the slow burn. In a post-apocalyptic adventure, you'll flee from the ruins of the Moscow metro that define the first two games, which aren't necessary for enjoying Exodus, and into the wilderness on board a train. With this setup, Exodus gives you several large areas to explore that are packed with secrets and stories to uncover if you're brave enough. With terrifying monsters roaming around, and often equally evil humans, Metro Exodus can at times feel like one of the best horror games. From its ruins of better days to steam-powered weapons and devices, Metro Exodus is a remarkably immersive open-world experience. Death Stranding isn't everyone's cup of tea. You play Sam Porter Bridges, Norman Reedus, as he delivers parcels to help reconnect America after it is broken by a cataclysmic event. The line between life and death is now blurred and the results are horrifying, something legendary game designer Hideo Kojima explores with his typical complexity, silliness, and absurdity. A character named Die Hardman? Sure, mate, sure. But some of the characters like Fragile, Leah Seydoux, Clifford Unger, Mads Mikkelsen, and Mama/Lockney, Margaret Qualley, are impeccably written. Ultimately, you are delivering parcels from one place to the next. The game part of all of this comes from the voyages you make to and fro, over mountains and chasm, through snow and river, or through crowds of strange creatures as acidic rain falls overhead. With bikes, trucks, grapples, and cannons to help you negotiate the empty American landscape with your deliveries, you'll find an open-world game that is gorgeous and unique, and certainly something I've never seen anything like before. The environment is the game, and that is truly innovative to me. You might think it pretentious and rubbish, or you might end up loving it like me, but isn't it worth finding out? So, did you like the games I recommended? So leave your like, subscribe to the channel to follow me, and activate the bell because I post a lot of videos on this channel and you can't miss it. I would like to remind you that in the description we have a list of different products that can make your gaming experience much better. If you want to buy, the link will be in the description. Anyway, thank you very much for following me this far, and until next time, bye.